Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to take a look at how you can beat the Universe 6 Super Battle Road stage with no item. So just obviously another fun little no item battle run, kind of just having a little look at the Universe 6 team. Now Universe 6 has probably one of the best units in the game for SBR type situations in Tech Hit. Tech Hit is like the number one or one of the top Super Battle Road style units in the game. He has the ability to stun everyone immediately upon entry, as long as everyone in the rotations, the Universe 6 category character. He does huge damage if they are stunned. He has guaranteed crits if they're stunned. He stuns from his passive, he stuns from his super attack, and he debuffs as well. So when he hits them, not only are they stunned, but they're also debuffed. So he does a lot. Like, he does a very, very, very large amount of utility all on his own. He's essentially a walking utility mechanism. And so having two of him is pretty good. You can essentially constantly stun the opposition, or you have a pretty good chance to get a lot of opening stuns, which tends to make the no item runs for things a lot easier. With that being said, obviously there is some caveats to him. So firstly, his defense is only really good after he super attacks. It's not great beforehand. So ideally you do want like a first slot tank to run with him, because then you're going to have probably the best time overall. Once you can kind of enable hit to just operate in the second slot, then you tend to have a pretty good time. Now the other units that are obviously super duper useful outside of him as a lead, so we have obviously the Strength Kefla, just kind of bring her for a source of damage. Overall she's pretty solid, I would say. She's nothing too crazy, but she's pretty solid. She has a pretty good damage output, and she obviously has the ability to evade, which does give her some usability in this stage. You could also use the physical Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. It's honestly more than fine. Then we have the Strength Kale and the Tech Caulifla. Now Tech Caulifla gains evasion based on how many Pepe Gals, but also how many Universe 6 category allies are on the team, which means in a team that's fully Universe 6 and also has some Pepe Gals, she has a pretty good chance to dodge, which makes her pretty strong. And then when you couple that with the fact that you have Strength Kale, who guards all attacks when she's in the same rotation as a unit that has Caulifla in her name, you tend to have some two pretty good kind of first slot options for hit. So they're really solid in the fact that essentially they operate as first slot options, allowing you to, for the larger extent, throw a hit in that second slot. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to throw a hit in the second slot. It's not mandatory or anything, but it is something that does I would say does help out quite a bit. Then alongside that you have the AGL, Kale and Caulifla. So AGL, Kale and Caulifla, obviously the LR are pretty good when it comes to their damage output. They are okay defensively. Their EZA didn't change too much for them, but in this stage and in a lot of stages where they're facing Pure Saiyans or Universal Survival Saga enemies, they tend to have a pretty good kind of standing, because of the fact that they obviously have the ability to not only fire off multiple super attacks, which augments their damage quite a bit, but in doing so give themselves some pretty solid defense after super and evasion, which for all intents and purposes is pretty good. I think them in the second slot is a pretty viable option. If you're going with a team build like this, I think it nets you out probably one of the better results, personally speaking. I just think it tends to give you exactly what you need, and you tend to have a pretty good time overall, at least for me. With that being said though, pretty good stuff. Honestly speaking, I think the team is quite fun. I think they're quite a fun team to use. I think there is like a couple of things you could do. Obviously on the JP side, I think they have units like Bota and Megetta. They've had a couple more buffs. There's obviously the AGL, Kale Berserker, who's also a fantastic unit. and you could definitely use her. I do like the double tech hit lead for just like the team in general. I just think the double tech lead is a much better lead. You get more stunning, more debuffing, more utilization, more chance for that your AoE stun. I just think it's, for SBR and ESBR, it's definitely the way to go. It's the optimal build per se, where you're gonna net out the kind of like best result that you can have. And then finally, the last unit that we have is obviously Vados. Vados is mainly a support type unit, but she does provide the ability to create orbs, which helps us with a bit of key problems by having Universe 6 category allies in the same rotation. And she also seals and debuffs the enemy as well. So with her evasion, she's pretty solid, and having a unit that can seal, debuff the opposition, and kind of give herself a pretty good opening salvo, I think at the end of the day is just a really, really rock solid option that can do a really good job. So for me, Vados is definitely a really nice addition to have floating around to kind of complement the hit units and really just push to enable the team in terms of damage, control, etc. Like once you have Vados seal up the opposition, she's debuffed them, they can get stunned by hits. It helps to activate the full passive of hit. So it's definitely something to consider overall. But yeah, it's a pretty fun team build. I don't think there's tons of other options. Universe 6 is rather limited to a certain extent. There's the Tech Kale and Caulifla, the duo unit, and there is the Int. What's his name? The Int guy, Kaba, thank you. Sorry, I've completely blanked. Who is a pretty decent option, but I wouldn't say is anything special. But yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully this gives you guys some idea on how to build a team for this stage. But yeah, overall it was just a pretty fun kind of attempt to do. But yeah, that's basically going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.